Guys, starting chapter 10 with section 10.1 of your student journal, pairs of lines and angles. What page is this? Page 275. I have all these numbers written out. You can ignore that. We're going to cover them later. Do your best to ignore it while we cover these other things. So, what does it mean when two lines are parallel, intersecting, coincident, or skew? And it all has to do with the number of times they touch. So, parallel lines, how many times do they intersect? None. Intersecting lines, they touch one time. And coincident lines are the same line, so they are always touching. So hopefully you understand that. The only definition we haven't covered yet is skew, which we will do right down here. Two lines are skew lines when they do not intersect and are also not coplanar. So AB and BC. Now notice that it says AB and BC lines, so I can just extend these lines AB and BC, and they are intersecting. Oops. Intersecting. AD and BC are parallel because they are on the same plane, but they do not touch. EI and IH are coincident because they are actually the same line. So if I take this, EI is that line. Again, don't forget, lines never end, so when you draw it, you just draw it like that. You draw them continuously. You can extend as you feel free because they are lines. What else? BF and EH, BF and EH, those are skew. So I know all this looks like a jumble right now, and I do apologize, but I just did not want to write all that later. It would just be a waste of time. BF and EH are skew. EF and CG are also skew. They do not touch and they are not on the same. Lastly, AB and GH, those are parallel. And I'll show you. So the last thing is parallel. And I'll show you why. AB and GH. At first, they don't look like they're on the same AB and GH, but if you imagine, oh gosh, if you imagine a plane that looks like this, kind of diagonal, then they're on the same plane, but they're still not touching. So that's why AB and GH are parallel. Okay, blue blah blah blue. These are all just definitions. The important thing here is that one, well, all these are important, but I'm not going to go over them. The two I'm going to go over is that small directed arrows are used to show that lines are parallel. So it's referring to arrows that look like this. This shows lines that are parallel. This symbol also means parallel. So when you see this or when you see that, you know means parallel too. What else? Segments and rays are parallel when they lie in parallel lines. So that means if lines are parallel, then the parts of them are also parallel. Okay. Parallel postulate. If there's a line and a point that's not on the line, there's only one line that goes through it that is parallel. This is the same thing except for perpendicular lines. And this is the meat of the lesson here. Corresponding angles. We have corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and consecutive interior angles. So let's see. Two angles are corresponding when they have corresponding positions. You might think of corresponding positions as in same positions. What does that mean? 6 and 2 are in the top right. They are corresponding. I'm going to do a few different ones with different colors. This angle and this angle are corresponding because they're in the top left. This angle and this angle are corresponding because they're in the bottom left. And lastly, this angle and this angle are also corresponding. So corresponding just means same position. Alternate interior, basically just across from each other, but inside a set of lines. Those are alternate interior. Alternate, you could also just think of as opposite sides. So they have to cross each other, or you have to cross some line to get alternate interior angles. Alternate exterior angles, so exterior means outside, so they are outside of this pair of lines, but alternate as in opposite, they're crossing this line. Consecutive interiors are lines, or angles, sorry, that lie between the two lines. Interior means between the two lines, or inside. and on the same side. So they're both on the left. These are both on the right. Those are consecutive interiors. Oh no, undo that. Okay, whew. That would have been really annoying for me. Okay, so line skew to FG, but that contain the point B. So I'm going to draw the lines that contain point B first, and then I'll describe which one of these fits. So skew to FG, so that's just line, like AB is parallel to FG, BG intersects FG, so this must be BC. Perpendicular to FG, oh, perpendicular sign, BG. And sorry, this is supposed to be BC. BC. Parallel, BA. And erase those now and move down. Let's see. Parallel to plane FGH, ABC. Plane ABC. Why is it not plane BGH? Because BGH intersects with FGH at line GH, and we want parallel planes, planes that will never touch. Okay. Name a pair of parallel lines. There are two answers here. One is this set, line WX and line YZ, or line UV and QR. You can pick either of those to copy down. Line WX, I'll write one, but you can write either one. Line WX and YZ, or you could have written UV and QR. Okay. Perpendicular lines, well, the only perpendicular symbol we have is right here. So what two lines are that? That's line UV and ST. Line UV and ST. UV and ST. UV and ST. Is WX parallel to QR? Oh, nope, they intersect. Is ST perpendicular to NV? Is ST perpendicular to NV? Yes, there's a perpendicular symbol. Okay, and lastly, this is what I had all these here for, so I don't have to write them over again. Are these, I guess they could fit right there. I'll try and move it up a little bit. Alright. Corresponding means in the same position, so let's just go over these. Starting with 1 and 5. So, boom, they're both, or sorry, I guess it specifies circle. So 1 and 5, kind of off to the left, basically. 1 and 9. They also share the same orientation. Erase those three. 2 and 6. 2 and 6 at the top, basically. 2 and 10. Also as close to the top, I suppose, as you. Top left. What else? 3 and 7. Bottom, bottom. 3 and 11. Bottom right, bottom right. 4 and 8. So to the right. Or 4 and 12. Also to the right. Or top right, if that's how you think about it. Okay, so I'm not going to explain the other ones because it's all going to be the same thing. I'm just going to tell you they're in the same position. Alternate interior, 2 and 7. Okay, so this one's best shown with these lines. Alternating, they have to be crossing a line to get to each other. 3 and 10. 4 and 5. 4 and 9. Again, always crossing a line. 7 and 12, crossing this line. 8 and 10, crossing this line. Okay. Alternate exterior now. Exterior means outside. So 1 and 12, they are both outside of their positions. 2 and 11. Alternate also means they have to cross 1 and 8. They have to cross a line. 1 and 8. 3 and 6. 5 and 11. And lastly, 6 and 9. If you're confused by this, trust me when I say future drawings will not ask you to identify them in such a jumbled picture. Lastly, consecutive interiors. This one's much easier. 2 and 5, 3 and 9. You're just looking for angles that are in a row. 8 and 12, 4 and 7, 4 and 10, 7 and 10. No crossing at all. All right. If you have any questions, make sure you ask your teacher or let me know.